Dear students, welcome to the second session of our chapter 5 Surface Chemistry. Today we'll deal with the topic catalysis. Catalysis is a process in which the involvement of catalyst is there. And what do you mean by catalyst? It is a substance which alter the rate of a chemical reaction and themselves remain chemically and quantitatively unchanged after the reaction. So what is catalyst? It alters or it changes the rate of a chemical reaction, but they will not chemically or quantitatively change after the reaction. And using the catalyst, if the process is done, then we can name it as catalysis. Next word is promoter, the substance that enhance the activity of catalyst. The substance that enhance the activity of a catalyst is named as promoter. So promoting something like that, meaning it comes. An example is in Haber's process. Haber's process is the manufacture of ammonia is named as Haber's process. In that, molybdenum acts as the promoter for iron, which is used as a catalyst. So iron is the catalyst, and along with that iron, if molybdenum is there, it acts as a promoter. It enhances the activity to do or enhances the rate of the reaction. That's why it is said to be promoter. Another word is that poison. Poison means the substances that decrease the activity of a catalyst. The activity of a catalyst decreases means it is something poison that doesn't want to increase the rate of a reaction. Next is the different types of catalysis. Two types of catalysis are there, homogeneous and heterogeneous catalysis. The word homo says same and hetero says different. So homogeneous catalysis means when the reactants and the catalyst are in the same phase. That is, they should be in liquid or in gas. So the reaction, when it is taking place, the reactant and the used up catalyst should be in one phase. If it is in one phase or same phase, then we can name it as homogeneous catalysis. An example is there, oxidation of sulfur dioxide into sulfur trioxide with the dioxygen or oxygen in presence of oxides of nitrogen as the catalyst in the lead chamber process. Now here what it is, SO2 is in gaseous form, O2 in gaseous form, and the catalyst used, it is also in the same phase. Then we can say it as what? It is a homogeneous catalysis. Next is heterogeneous catalysis. The catalytic properties in which the reactants and the catalyst are in different phases. Then we can name it as heterogeneous catalysis. Example is oxidation of sulfur dioxide into sulfur trioxide in presence of platinum. And in this reaction, we know that reactant is in gaseous form, but the catalyst is in which form? Solid form. So we can't say it is in the same phase, and we have to name it as heterogeneous catalysis. So catalysis is divided into two, that is homogeneous catalysis and heterogeneous catalysis. Homo means same and hetero means different. So what we are taking, the reactant and the catalyst should be in the same phase, it is said to be homogeneous. The reactant and the catalyst should be in different phases means it is said to be heterogeneous catalysis. Next, we will discuss about the mechanism of heterogeneous catalysis. It involves 5 steps. The first step is diffusion of the reactants to the surface of the catalyst. Second one, adsorption of the reactant molecules on the surface of the catalyst. Then, occurrence of chemical reaction on the catalyst surface through the formation of an intermediate. Fourth, desorption of reaction products from the catalyst surface. And the last one is diffusion of reaction products away from the catalyst surface. So these are the five steps with which the mechanism of heterogeneous happens. Now let's see in a diagrammatic way. First, you can see here the catalyst surface having free vacancies. This is a catalyst having the free vacancies. Now, A and B are the reacting molecules. When these two react, or this reaction is there, when we add the catalyst to it, what happens? First, they get inside the catalyst gets inside the reactant molecule surface. Then what happens? Adsorption of the reacting molecule is happening. So just surface, the linkage is there. After that, an intermediate formation is formed, or intermediate compound formation is there. After absorbing the reacting molecules, what will happen? The catalyst is there. These all will be in a bond. So it's an unstable compound. And after this, what happens from here? The desorption of the product will be there. That is, it will be separated from the catalyst and the product you are getting. So this is how the mechanism is there for the heterogeneous way. So the catalyst first reacts on the surface. After that, adsorption is there. Then intermediate compound formation is there. After intermediate formation, desorption of the product molecule is there. You are getting the catalyst separate and the product separate, and this is our desired product with the help of catalyst. Some important features of solid catalyst are activity, selectivity. So first we will discuss about the activity. The activity of a catalyst depends upon the strength of chemisorptions to a large extent. The reactants must get adsorbed reasonably strongly onto the catalyst, but not so strongly to become active. However, they must not get adsorbed so strongly that they become immobilized, and the other reactants have no space on the catalyst surface. That's why we are saying no, but not so strongly. And in this example, you can see 2H2 plus O2 gives, in presence of which catalyst, platinum, 2H2O, which is in the liquid form. So the activity is there. Next is selectivity. The word selectivity says something you are choosing. The selectivity of a catalyst is its ability to direct a reaction to yield a particular product. So, for a particular product, a particular catalyst should be chosen, and that is said to be the selectivity of a catalyst. An example is starting with hydrogen and carbon monoxide. We can have different catalysts and we will get what? Different products. That is, depending upon the selectivity of the catalyst, we are getting the different products. Let's see the example. Carbon monoxide plus 3H2. In presence of nickel catalyst, you are getting methane and water. The same reaction, that is carbon monoxide and hydrogen, when reacts in presence of CuZnO, Cr2O3. In zinc oxide, chromium oxide, what about the product? It forms the methanol. The third reaction is carbon monoxide and hydrogen when react in presence of copper catalyst, we are getting what? Formaldehyde. So the three products are different with the three different catalysts. So choosing the catalyst decides what particular product we should get. So that is very important in a chemical reaction. Next is shape selective catalysis by zeolites. The catalytic reaction that depends upon the pore structure of the catalyst and the size of the reactant and product molecules is said to be shape selective catalysis. So how we can define this one? Shape selective catalysis. It depends on the pore structure of the catalyst and also the size of the reactant and product molecule. Then we can name it as shape selective catalysis. When it is done by zeolites, it is named as shape selective catalysis by zeolites. Zeolites are good shape selective catalysts because of their honey-like or honeycomb-like structure. They are microporous aluminosilicates, and it is widely used as catalyst in petrochemical industries for cracking of hydrocarbons and isomerization. An important zeolite catalyst used in the petroleum industry is ZSM-5. It is an abbreviation for zeolite Sconi mobile number 5, ZSM-5. Why it is? Because first synthesized by Mobil Company in 1972. And these zeolites convert alcohols directly into gasoline or petroleum or petrol by dehydrating them to give a mixture of hydrocarbons. Next, we will deal with enzyme catalysis. Enzymes are the complex nitrogenous organic compounds which are produced by plants and animals. So, it is produced by plants and animals, we learnt or we know also. And they catalyze the reactions that occur in the bodies of plants and animals to maintain their life process. The enzymes are thus termed as what? Biochemical catalyst. Because of this activity, the enzymes are named as biochemical catalyst, and the phenomenon is known as biochemical catalysis. Now, some of the examples we can see here for enzyme catalysis. First one, conversion of glucose into ethyl alcohol. When we want to convert the glucose into ethyl alcohol, an enzyme is there or acting there. The enzyme zymase converts glucose into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. And here we can see the equation also. That is, the reaction is C6H12O6 is glucose, gives C2H5OH plus CO2. That is ethyl alcohol plus carbon dioxide in presence of zymase. That is the enzyme. Next example is decomposition of urea into ammonia and carbon dioxide. Urea's formula is NH2CONH2 plus H2O gives ammonia, NH3 plus carbon dioxide in presence of the enzyme urease. So, urease is the enzyme which decomposes urea into ammonia and carbon dioxide. Next example is in stomach. The enzyme pepsin converts the protein into peptides. This we are learning in biomolecules that the enzyme pepsin and trypsins are there. So pepsin converts the protein into peptides, while in intestine the pancreatic trypsin converts protein into amino acids. Next example is conversion of milk into curd. In our daily life we are watching this thing, the milk converts into curd, and with the help of an enzyme called lactobacilli it converts into curd. Next we can see some examples through a table. The enzyme invertase which is present in the yeast converts sucrose into glucose and fructose. The enzyme invertase which is present in yeast converts sucrose to glucose and fructose. Next example is zymase which is also present in yeast converts glucose into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Just now we have seen. Then diastase in malt, it is the source. That is, starch is converted into maltose. Maltase is there in yeast which converts maltose to glucose. Urease is also present in soya bean which converts urea into ammonia and carbon dioxide. In stomach, pepsin is there which converts protein into amino acids. Now let's talk about the characteristics of enzyme catalysis. It is highly efficient. How we can explain this thing is, if one molecule of an enzyme is converting or transforming 1 million molecules of the reactant per minute, then we can understand that it is highly efficient. Next characteristic is it is very highly or highly specific in nature. How? One catalyst cannot catalyze more than one reaction. The rate of an enzyme reaction becomes maximum at a definite temperature, which is named as optimum temperature, and its range is 298 to 310 Kelvin. It is highly active under the optimum pH between 5 to 7. The increasing activity in the presence of activators or coenzymes. The activators are generally the metal ions such as sodium ion, Mn2 plus, CO2 plus, Cu2 plus, etc. are there. The enzymes are also inhibitor or poisoned by the presence of certain substance. The inhibitors or the poisons interact with the active functional group on the enzyme surface and often reduce or completely destroy the catalytic activity of the enzyme. And the use of many drugs is related to their action as enzyme inhibitors in the body. Mechanism of enzyme catalysis. There are a number of cavities present on the surface of the enzymes, and these cavities are of characteristic shapes and possess active sites or groups like NH2, COOH, SHOH, etc. groups are there, and these are actually the active centers on the surface of enzyme particles, and the molecules of the reactant which have the complementary shape, they fit into these cavities, or they sit in the cavities just like key fits into a lock, and the activated complex is formed, which then decomposes to yield the product. So it's like key hole or key fits into a lock. We can see the diagrammatic way how it is represented also. First, let us see the two steps. Thus, the enzyme catalyzed reaction may be considered into two steps. The first one is what? Binding of enzyme to substrate to form an activated complex. Like E is the enzyme plus the substrate giving ES star. This is activated complex or intermediate complex. Then the decomposition of the activated complex to form the product. What happens? This reaction, the enzyme is getting separated from here, and it gives you what? E plus P. That means enzyme and product are separated. Here what? Enzyme and reactant was there. And the same sentence we can show in the diagrammatic way. You can see here E plus E gives ES, that is the intermediate or the activated complex. Then E plus P, that is the enzyme is separated from the product. So first one you can see here the enzyme catalyst. It is having some shape. The active site is there on the reactant, and the shape you can see it's almost matching. So what happens? It just fits into the substrate and the enzyme fits into the shape, and it becomes like what? It becomes a one structure. And after that what happens is the enzyme is getting separated from the substrate, and you are getting the desired two products or three products, whatever it is. Now let's discuss some industrial catalytic process. First one is Haber's process, and Haber's process is for the manufacture of ammonia. Now here you can understand the reaction, that is nitrogen plus hydrogen gives you ammonia. It is one step process, and here the catalyst used is finely divided iron, and molybdenum is also there, which is acting as the promoter. The conditions for the reaction to occur is 200 bar pressure and 723 to 773 Kelvin temperature should be there. It's very important to remember the catalyst and the conditions for the process. Next reaction is Ostwald's process, which is for the manufacture of nitric acid. And here the catalyst used is platinized asbestos. The temperature is 573 Kelvin. And here it is happening in three steps. The first step is ammonia is oxidized. In presence of oxygen, when it is done, we will get NO plus H2, nitrous oxide. Then nitrous oxide again in presence of oxygen, when the reaction is there, nitrogen dioxide formation is there. Then the nitrogen dioxide hydrolysis is there, plus H2O plus O2 gives you HNO3, nitric acid formation is there. So like this, three steps are there for the Ostwald's process for the manufacture of nitric acid. Next one is the contact process for the manufacture of sulfuric acid. And in this also the three steps are there. First one is sulfur dioxide is oxidized to give sulfur trioxide. And this sulfur trioxide reacts with sulfuric acid. It is the aqueous form. Remember, this is aqueous form to give you a compound named as oleum, H2S2O7. This oleum is hydrolyzed to give you sulfuric acid. So these are the three steps with which the manufacture of sulfuric acid is done. And in presence of the catalyst platinized asbestos or vanadium pentoxide, the reaction is done with a temperature 673 to 723 Kelvin. So the catalyst and the condition is important for the manufacture of these three reactions, that is the ammonia formation, nitric acid formation and sulfuric acid formation in large scale. Thank you, and we'll continue in the next session.